Jones brings out the A-listers. Tom didn't fight, but it feels like the fight got bigger. How did the fight get bigger? Without one half of the fight actually fighting.
Darn.
Is this the biggest fight the UFC can make right now? Jones and Aspinall?
Yes, it is.
We're all in New York. We've been in New York for a while now, but it was all for Jon Jones, right? Obviously, he is great. And on Saturday, he showed his greatness again and beat Stipe Miocic. But every time Jones fights, right? Dana's on the Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. He's the pound GOAT. The first question today is, does that show that Jon warrants being number one pound? Did it really change anything? Did it really change anything, no, Chael? Honestly.
No, of course not. What is so fascinating about it is if we just apply the laws of logic, that couldn't have been a very good Jon Jones. I mean, if we understand, earlier that night, a 37-year-old named Michael Chandler, who had taken 2 years off, fought, and he looked rusty. He looked a little tired. He looked a little bit slow. He looked a step behind his opponent. 2 years will do that to you. Jon took almost 4. Do you understand this was not a great Jon? It just logically couldn't be. He spent his entire camp grappling and doing jiu-jitsu to the point that he put Gable Steveson, an Olympic champion wrestler, in his corner, along with Gordon Ryan, the reigning Abu Dhabi king. And I only share for you, he didn't do any of it. I mean, he might have touched the ground for a moment, but he was looking to put a hole through Stipe's head with his elbow over something that allegedly Stipe said about his kids, which he did not actually say. Jon got himself in the right frame of mind, though. And when I do watch that, and the man has so many tools, Daniel. For goodness sakes, he turned his back. It's a spinning kick. You can't even see your opponent. Stipe brings up a knee. He drops an elbow. It provides for 4 inches of room for that foot to get through, which is approximately 4 inches wide. He got it through the gap. He shot it through the gap into the liver and ended a fight. What would it be like if he actually lived the lifestyle, DC? He is so good. He's so good.
Dude, he's very good. And it really did show me, Chael, that heavyweights are going to struggle with him. So you and I spoke a little bit about this Saturday. When I fought Jon Jones, I anticipated all these things because I had seen it. Plus, I saw it from other guys that I fought. A lot of kicks up the middle, a lot of knees. Like, in those lighter weights, you see that. At heavyweight, they box in some low kicks. That's why Mirko Kokop was so crazy good. He's one of the only guys throwing head kicks. Nobody was doing it. It was insane to see. Well, Jones, with all those weapons, the front kicks and the leg kicks, the spinning kicks, the knees. Bro, he had Stipe a step behind from the moment they walked into the octagon. When he took him down and beat him up like that in the first round, I think it set the tone of the fight.
That's such a great analysis by you, partner, and I love that for 2 reasons. 1, Jon had a whole bunch of tools, but 2, Stipe, aside from potentially in training camp, had never had to defend against those kinds of weapons. He's never had a guy spin against him. I told people, man, Derek Lewis is not going to hit a spinning kick any more than Daniel Cormier can even get his leg up that high. Jon's coming in the middle. He'll hit you in the package a couple of times just for attention before he brings it to your stomach, before he turns it into a high kick. He controls the distance, and he just slowly picks away. Daniel, we did believe something, you and I together, for maybe the first time, which is there was an element of this fight where Jon would not be king, and that was the boxing. And Jon won the boxing. Jon won the kicking. Jon won the grappling heavily. And nobody even tried to take Jon down. I can't remember the last time an opponent has tried to take him down. I would like that to be part of somebody's game plan, and that's where the fantasy of Alex Pierre begins to diminish a little bit for me. We need somebody to at least offer that threat, and I can't remember the last person who did. I didn't. I can tell you that I never got started to the point to even try. Somebody needs to try to take him down.
I tried to take him down. He's so long that it's hard, right? Him and I got into some situations where we got to a body lock, tried to throw me. I came on or tried to bear hug me. We fell to the ground. I kind of elevated him. We ended up getting back on our feet. He took me down in the first fight. I got him up in the air to take him down in the first fight. He's hard to control, and he's so long, it's hard to get him off the ground unless you're as big as he is. But he beat Stipe from start to finish. Stipe looked slow, if we're being honest. And I like Stipe. He's a buddy of mine. I think him and I have always had a ton of respect for each other. But that was not the guy that was fighting last time he stepped in the octagon. And he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. That wasn't the same guy. That guy is gone, as you would expect when you're 3 years away and you're 42 years old. Honestly, I don't know. And again, Jon looked great because you still got to beat the greatest heavyweight of all time. I don't know if this was more of an indication that Stipe's done or Jon's greatness. It came together to play for what Jon did. But it feels like it was equally Stipe being bad and Jon being good. Because Stipe didn't really present much of problems for him in any way, shape, or form. And dude, you could see it right away. When Jon hit him with that first push kick up the middle, Miocic you could see his face go. And when he would run, when he would go to punch, he wasn't even really coming close to Jones. You got to be fast to get to Jones, and Stipe wasn't fast enough to get to him. So for you, was it Jon good and great, or was it Stipe bad?
Jon couldn't have been great. I mean, it's just, I'm applying the laws of logic. He sat out. Nobody here, including you and I, the hosts of the show, can tell you what team he represented. We could not tell you what gym he trained at. It's one of these things. He put Gable Stevenson and Gordon Ryan. I know those two. They're not friends of Jon. They don't spend a lot of time with Jon. He put them in his corner because he's largely a man without a country. And I only say that because there's no way that was the best version. And he does have weapons. It's the art of war. Have a weapon your enemy can't deal with and make them believe that you will use it. And Jon did. I mean, a liver kick, it doesn't matter who you are, including Tom Aspinall. When you watch spinning liver kicks at heavyweight that shoot the gap by 4 inches and paralyze a man's body that's got 2 world championships on home at the mantle, it's something special. That's not what Tom said, though, by the way, Daniel. I talked to Tom after the fight. He said, it's the first time I've seen Jon Jones in person. Everything else has been on television. Excuse me. He said, I couldn't believe how slow he was. He said, those attacks would have touched me.
It's hard, right? Because Jon Jones is so... Dude, honestly, Ryan Clark said in a group message, he goes, some guys are just made to fight. It seems like this dude is just made to fight. He's got the perfect length. He's got cardio. He's got a great mind for fighting. He knows exactly where to find to put those shots. You can wing punches all day. It doesn't matter. He doesn't, right? He takes his time. You know what stood out to me? Probably the most impressive thing about Jones is he hurt Miocic with a right hand, bad. He hurt Miocic with some jabs. Jon Jones never punched hard. If he's punching hard now, that makes him a real problem, especially for heavyweights. And you know what else? The fact that he just walks these dudes down. He just walks them down. Even though he's not that big, you can see that when they got into the octagon, Stipe was naturally bigger than Jon. But Jon just walked him down the whole time and just felt no threat. But again, when you are made to fight, that's how you approach it. And then once again, he puts on one of those performances that people are going to be talking about for a long time and restarts the conversation upon number one. But to your point, Tom said he thought he was slow. Tom goes, because John Anik asked us on the show, what do you think Tom Aspinall was thinking? I go, probably nothing. Nothing. Because it's not like Jon looked like so fast. And then when I saw Tom, I go, what did you think? He goes, nothing. He goes, because Tom's a great guy. So Tom goes, all respect to Stipe, that would never happen to me.
Sure.
Right? But Jon just dismisses him. He doesn't want to fight him for some reason. Why?
Sure. I also don't understand that. Jon began doing what we call publicly negotiating, which when you do that with the UFC, there are examples over the history of the years where that has worked, but it generally doesn't work out well. I thought it was a bad look. Jon said, I'll fight him, but I'll fight him for money. And it was one of these things where I feel like somebody needs to just sit Jon down and read his contract to him. Like that fight is limitless. There's never a cap on pay-per-view participation, which you aren't buying into. You are being given from a generosity standpoint. If the fans, in fact, do want to see that fight more than any other fight in heavyweight history, and I believe they do, then Jon will, in fact, collect the biggest check in heavyweight history, and that includes over the likes of DC and Brock Lesnar. It's one of those situations where I think Jon's in a really beautiful spot, but perhaps he doesn't know that. Yes. And he's flirting with people saying that he's going to be scared of the fight. And the line did come out, and the line came out favoring Tom. So Jon was the walk. Yeah, favored Tom, just slightly. Was it 115?
Have we ever seen Jon instilled as an underdog?
Never. That's what I'm sharing with you. Like, if the fight that he decides to not come to the table on is the first fight in his career where he is the underdog, it's one of those spots. You can't pay the favorite half the purse that you're paying the champion and then have the champion tell you that I'm not getting paid enough money. It's one of these situations that I like the competitor. I think Jon Jones is a dirty, rotten competitor, and I don't think he ever gets credit for it. I think he's a true tough guy that will cling to that belt. Daniel, we're not talking about him losing to Stipe right now. We're talking about he didn't lose a moment to Stipe. He didn't lose a position to Stipe. He didn't lose an element of the fight. He did the wrestling, he did the grappling, he did the punching, he did the kicking, he walked his ass down. He did everything. Man, there's not signs of seeing holes in the armor that come with time. Man's only under 40, and that's in dog years. Arrest, cage fights, and cocaine will age you one heck of a lot faster than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unspeakable how good he is. That's just the truth. It pains me to tell you that. That's the truth.
It's the God-honest truth, man. You know, Aspinall's minus 150. Look, man, hey, these odds makers, at times they know things. Because I was like, this is so disrespectful that Jones is minus 650 against a guy next to him. Then guess what? He was literally minus 1,000. He could have been as big of a number of a favorite as you wanted to put him at, because he just was way better. But yes, Tom Aspinall did a great job trying. And you know, he told me, he said, I tried, Daniel. He goes, I tried to be at the press conference. He goes, I tried to be at the press conference as a bystander. He goes, I was blacklisted. He said they wouldn't even let me in the crowd to go and sit there and ask a question to Jon Jones or Stipe Miocic. He goes, I couldn't go. He goes, everything you're saying is like, I tried it. He goes, I wanted to be as present in this fight week as I could be. He said, but they wouldn't give it to me. But he was pretty good over the week in terms of being around, not being too much, to the point that the fans started to do the job for him. He didn't even have to start thumping his chest no more. When they go, will it be Tom Aspinall at that press conference? That place went bananas. And Jon went, Because Jon likes the big fight, and Jon likes the big money, right? Jon went, maybe. But it's very dangerous to play the game that you said he's playing. But Tom Aspinall as a whole, outside of going on your guys' show after, dude, I heard him telling the story about how they didn't let him drink any beer until the main event started. Tom, how many did you get in 15 minutes, bro?
Right. Yeah, what was he up there doing keg stands or something? Yeah, because he got a few ounces in by the time I had seen him.
Because that's outside of going on the show drunk. Tom was actually pretty good all week.
Yes, he was.
Tom's week.
Yes, he was. Daniel, I was blown away with how big he was. I was blown away with how fit he was. It does still come in. I mean, that is a very imposing character. And Tom should beat Jon. He's got 40 pounds of muscle on him. There's not a man out there that I outweigh by 40 pounds that I have to worry about. But I only share with you, he hasn't gone late. Tom's only left in the octagon the first round one time. And other people use that as like this great, wow, he's the new Mike Tyson. That bothers me. I don't know how a man that big that's got to get oxygen to all those muscles is going to do it 18 and 19 minutes in. I do know Jon Jones, whether he partied the weekend before or not, is going to push the whole time. He's a tough and gritty competitor. But one thing about this business, Daniel, we will take you at your word. If you go all the way back to 1993, where there'd never been a cage fight, and we decide who we're going to put in there and give the opportunity, we will take a guy at his word when he comes and says, I can beat them. I'm a black belt. I have secrets. We take you at your word. And right now, Jon's word is don't count on me. Right now, his word is, hey, that interim belt that you just took off of Tom, you might need that thing back. And by the way, I predicted that for you. I'm the only one that predicted that accurately. Dana White did touch, so that press conference, they did take the belt off of Tom. You do not have an interim champion in the presence of the undisputed champion. Just by definition, Dana did clear that up. I was the only one. I want my credit for it because everybody all the way to Tom Aspinall told me that I had that wrong. No, I'm the only one that had that right.
Yeah, right.
But I'm only telling you, Dan, I'm so sorry. If I may just, because maybe I'm not getting across what I want to there. It's always the undisputed champion versus the interim champion. It's obvious, and that's what I'm sharing for you. No, that's not the spot that we're in. If Jon wanted to play around and try to find somebody else, it's going to be a hard sell. I don't predict that he's going to succeed at it, but he could do it. We don't have an interim champion that automatically gets the spot. That's what I'm trying to share. Aspinall could get weighted out. He's already got weighted out one time where he needed a paycheck. That's what the fight in the defense of Blades was all about. So this fight is not done. I love what Tom is doing. I love that Tom knows it's not done and he's out there fighting hard for his job. And I think that Jon's played it a little bit fun too, but we will take him at his word. And if his word is, I don't know if I'm coming back, we will move on with the show.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Does Tom Waiter, does he fight? Like, especially now. If I'm Tom Aspinall and I'm not the interim champion, I don't know that I'm fighting again. Because now everything changes. Because when you're not the interim champion, you don't get pay-per-view anymore. That question, I don't know that conversation with Tom and Dana and them. Hey, we're gonna take the interim title. The pay-per-view that you make is gone. All that must have been a hard conversation. But if you're Tom Aspinall, are you waiting? Because, man, Jon went so far in that press conference as to say, I'll give up the heavyweight championship and let Tom have it. Which, bro, that would be the ultimate stick it to him. Because, like, hey, Tom's such an asshole. You know, like Jon said, Tom's such an asshole. Bro, Jon wants to stick it to him, give him the belt, because no matter what he does, they will always say, but he didn't beat Jon Jones. He needs, that actually is the move. That
is the move. That is the move. You've convinced me. Hey, he's walked away before. He's doing that to Alex Pierre now. Oh, you're the guy that won the belt that I left behind. Oh, congratulations, young man. I really do think the UFC is more interesting when Jon is around. I think that Jon is a very sensitive person. He gave a very heartfelt speech to Jon Anik afterwards in the back about things that Jon had said leading up to this fight. I'm talking Anik here on social media known as Instagram. It meant a lot to Jon, but Jon is a sensitive guy. When you come out and start talking about him or start questioning his greatness, that does bring out a competitor in him. And an angry Jon Jones, I mean, not for nothing, but that's a very scary guy in the cage. And Stipe had to deal with that and should not have had to have dealt with that. Stipe did not do the things he was accused of doing. I think Jon knows that, but Jon needed to get himself to a certain frame of mind, and that's what the greats do. Jon's a great.
He does. He gets himself there. Sometimes you help him. Sometimes guys don't. And even when they don't help him, he finds a way to make himself angry. And when he's angry, I've said this time and time again, he operates so well in just a chaotic situation. And that comes from Rashad Evans and myself and all these guys that he fought at a very, very young age. You know, it's very rare that you have two guys that are moving along the same line, right? They're running at the same time, Jon and Tom. One fights. He's the biggest star we have right now, hands down. Jon Jones is the biggest star in the UFC that we have right now. You can tell by the arena, right? The level of the celebrity tells you at times the level of the star. Conor McGregor fights, you might get Will Smith. You might get Jada Smith. You might get the president. You might get all the hot A-listers. Jones brings out the A-listers. Tom didn't fight, but it feels like the fight got bigger. How did the fight get bigger without one half of the fight actually fighting?
Right.
Is this the biggest fight the UFC can make right now, Jones and Aspinall?
Yes, it is. And the greatest representative of that is the idea that Aspinall, for now, is the favorite, Daniel. I don't believe that line is going to stick. As a matter of fact, go a step further. I don't believe this performance against Stipe was taken in consideration for the line. When the line came out after the fight, we were supposed to believe that it was taking what we just saw into account. I don't believe that. I believe it was predetermined and done. If Jon wins, this is the line. I don't think after what we saw, there was no room to beat him, Daniel. There was nothing we saw with Jon's performance where you go, well, if you exploit that, or hey, that's exactly what Tom is known to exploit. Then it happened.
Yeah. There was no weakness that was shown that would make the fight closer, right? But to see Jon Jones as an underdog in a fight, I honestly never thought I would see it until I thought he'd be 40-something years old, still fighting late, where you might see somebody favored to beat him. But he's 37.
Do you know what Jon would have done to Francis Ngannou in hindsight? Now that we look back, do you know what Jon would have picked that big man apart? I mean, I'm just sharing with you, like, that's a big man's nightmare. Another fairly good size. Like, Jon's not a heavyweight. Jon is fighting at heavyweight. There's a massive difference. The hardest guy to wrestle for us, DC, was the champion from one weight class down, Steve Mocco, your teammate, but he found that out when he ran into you. The hardest guy to go with is a guy that's just a little smaller because he's just a little faster. His endurance can go. He's a little bit more athletic. That's what Jon is bringing them. I love another point that you made earlier, that Jon is walking them down. to watch it. 236-pound Jon Jones walk down heavyweight champions after being out for 4 years. I know I'm being disrespectful to the surreal fight, but I am not counting that. And it was just an amazing thing. How good would he be if he actually did it what we call right? If he had an actual gym, if he had a mentor, a male mentor that he admired. All male athletes have a male in front of them, whoever that is, all of us. And we'll get out of bed and go run if that guy just calls us and tells us to do it. What if Jon had those things? What if he wasn't the captain steering the ship? Everybody's got a coach. LeBron's got a coach. Serena's got a coach. Tiger's got a coach. And Jon is in a very tough spot, and he's putting out these performances anyway.
Yeah, he loves Brandon Gibson, who does a great job for Jones in terms of getting him prepared. But again, you know who runs the show there. I think he's training at the old Jackson gym where like nobody's there anymore.
I think that's right.
Yeah, they've got like 2, but I don't even know if it's still called Jackson's MMA. It's unbelievable what he did. But Tom Aspinall is a favorite to beat him. And honestly, just watching, right? And I know MMA math doesn't work. I know you can't go all, but I don't know if I would think the fight between Stipe and Tom would have been any different. Maybe Tom wouldn't have hit him with the kicks, but the hands would have been a problem. But yes, dude, Francis would have struggled with Jones. Dude, he threw Stipe down and just beat the crap out of him.
He threw him down.
He literally grabbed him by the neck, stepped behind his leg, and threw him down. He chokeslammed him. He literally chokeslammed the dude and just beat him on the ground for a long time.
If you take Jon Jones' elbows, when you get up, you're now different. Jon Jones will change a man if he gets on top. His ground and pound is his best weapon. That's never what's talked about as his best weapon, but it is. He changed the fight with those moments he had on top.
He did. So say this fight happens next year. What changes does Jon Jones have to make to prepare himself for Tom Aspinall? Because again, and that's the difference, right? Aspinall is fast, he's agile, he's strong. Jon Jones has seen all that time and time again, right? I was fast, I was agile, strong, athletic. Rashad was, Lyoto was. We were actually more of all those things than Tom outside of strength. The only thing that Tom has that Jon's never seen is the size, right? He's never fought anybody with those attributes with that size. Jon's seen everything Tom can do. Tom's never seen anything like he would see against Jon Jones. He's never seen a guy that can knee like that. He's never seen a guy that can kick like that. He's never seen a guy that maintains range and distance like Jones. You know it, Chael. When you're in there and he's fighting you southpaw, and you're supposed to be able to grab that lead leg because it's right in front of you, but every time you try, he's kicking you in the stomach and he's kneeing you. He's doing all these things. How does Aspinall react to that? I think people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves with the idea. So I think the onus will be on how Tom prepares for Jones. Because Jones, again, knows how to prepare for guys with every one of those attributes that Tom possesses.
And Jon doesn't wait. You know, we call this self-defense, martial arts of the self-defense. Jon practices self-offense. A fight is a dance, after all. I mean, that's really the artistic part about it. But only one person can lead at a time. Jon Jones, not only do guys not try to take him down, Jon Jones also makes first contact. I don't know if that's important to him or if that's just a coincidence, but in every fight that he has, he will walk out and kick somebody. He will throw a punch, but he will get that fight started. If it's a race, for an analogy, he gets in front, but he stays there the whole time. That's not how most guys do it. Most guys, there's give and take, or you hear about a feeling out process. Jon plays a different game. And Daniel, I'm just not convinced that we've seen the best Jon. When he outboxed Stipe, I think it's because he needed to outbox Stipe. And when he out-wrestles the great wrestlers, it's because he needed to. I'm not positive that he's showing us any more than he's got to show us. And I really don't know just how good he could be or how good he really is if he's tested with something. And when I do look at Tom, if Tom is bringing self-defense, he's not going to beat Jon. It's got to be self-offense. He's got to be the one that goes first. He's got to impose his size. If he starts backing up like Stipe did and circling to the smaller man, it is over.
That was one of our things at AKA, me and Velasquez and Khabib. We wanted to go first. We wanted to go forward, start the fight right now. The moment you and I walk to that center and you do the whole glove touch thing, if you want to, we good. I'm going to freaking go after you and make you fight me. Because I want to see right now, very early, who's going to lead. The only guy that actually did that and didn't back up was Jones. When I went to fight him, he said, okay, we're fighting, right? The moment, that's why the fights all started so fast. He's unwilling. Tom cannot back up, Jill. If you start backing up, you're screwed. That fight, though, is so appealing that I hope they can make it happen but hell, if he gets through Tom, then it's over. Everyone's vanquished.
Oh, yeah.
It's over, right? So Thursday, we're going to talk more about Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira, because Michael Chandler at this point is an entertainer. He doesn't care about winning fights. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we saw on Friday. So Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul. Mike Tyson, for about a minute, looked like Mike Tyson, and then it was over. He couldn't fight. He's 60 almost. For as big of a spectacle as it was, how much of a bad look is that for boxing, to have a 27-year-old guy in there fighting a 57-year-old Mike Tyson?
There had to be an adult in the room, Daniel, and there wasn't. Mike Tyson stumbled walking to the ring. When they fight back, he's got a knee brace on that the announce crew never addressed. I thought that was very interesting. It's not as though we didn't all notice it. I not only noticed it on Mike, I don't remember a boxer in boxing history that I've seen wear a knee sleeve. And I'm only sharing for you, like, what was going on there. He barely gets up the stairs. And then, not for nothing, there are two sides to this. Like, Mike did go out and protect himself at all times. And there was a part where Jake started being nice, when Jake realized what is in front of me, right? And it cost Vitor his career. Vitor going out there and cleaning up Evander like that, people call it elderly abuse. Vitor's never boxed again. It cost him his career. Like, it's a real fine line. And Jake did decide, what's worse? I don't knock out Mike Tyson. I do knock out Mike Tyson. It was a tough spot. It was a spectacle at best. I don't love the word fight applied to it. It happened. It's over. I'm glad it's over.
I'm just happy Mike didn't get hurt, because there were moments where Jake was hitting him, and I was like, dang, he can still take a shot, but you don't want to see him taking those types of shots at that age. But you know, like, so one thing I've learned, right? So with older people, so we all stand tall, right? So I stand tall. I'm glad that at this point I still stand tall. But it feels like as you age, your knees kind of start to do this. You ever notice, like, the older the person gets, they almost start to hunch and they walk. Like, Mike's knees started doing that, man. I'm going, oh my God. So Mike, in the very beginning, he was standing tall. Bro, his body, his top half was actually still moving like this. But his legs were bent like this, man. I was like, damn, dog, Uncle Mike's knees are giving out on him. And here Roy's like, Mike, he's got no legs. I was like, dang, dog, Mike out there looking, he just looked like a 60-year-old man, too.
Daniel, I had food poisoning. I'm on the bathroom floor, man. They call it praying to the porcelain. It's disgusting. I'm sorry to talk about this, but then I go to get up, my knee goes out. I'm down on the ground, I'm naked, my mom's here, I'm sweating. I mean, it's just this embarrassing thing. I thought I popped an ACL. I go, oh my God, the worst pain is the knee. I got to use the counter to get up. And I swear to goodness, in that moment, which about 3 hours ago, I thought of Mike Tyson. And I thought, how did he make that walk? How did he make that stumble? His kids were there. Nobody stopped him. Has he never read a bout agreement? All you got to do is weigh in. Show just means weigh in. You could have got your bag and go home. Netflix brought in the revenue. You still get the check. I'm, of course, being silly right now, but, you know, there was a side that's like, hey, you know, good for you for going out there and trying. And there's another side of, where was the adult in the room? Dana White would have never done that.
Bro, 2-minute rounds. And bro, in the first, he went boom with a jab, and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna win. And I bought into it for a split second. But reality is, the kid can box. The kid can box a little bit. He's not a terrible boxer.
Daniel, can I change the topic real fast? Did you meet Elon?
So I didn't get a chance to meet Elon. We waved at each other.
Okay, that counts.
We did.
If I got a wave to Elon, I would refer to him the rest as my buddy. Oh, you know, my buddy Elon. Some people are a little loose with that. I'm one of those people.
The new Rat Pack. Trump, Dana, Elon, and Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
What is Kid Rock doing there? It's like one guy doesn't fit. It was like Kid Rock. Like, what's Kid Rock? I'm like, how did Kid Rock get into this group, man?
You know how you can put Snoop Dogg anywhere? It can be WrestleMania, it can be on stage, it can be, and it just works. I feel like Kid Rock, he's a poor man Snoop Dogg, but I do feel like there's something there where you're right. He doesn't fit. I don't know his involvement, but I'm kind of glad he's here in the sunglasses and the funny hat. You know, there's something about it that I thought did make good TV.
I'm literally watching Elon Musk and just thinking about like how this dude is sending spaceships into the like. That was a thing before. Before, like, we would stop as a country to watch a spaceship go into
school.
orbit. Yes, they would stop school. Now, Elon's doing this like once a week. He's shooting rockets into space. And we're like, it's just normal at this point. Hey, yo, and this dude done bought the whole town. That whole town that he lives in, he bought it. Every house that town in Texas where SpaceX is, he bought the whole town. Dude lives in like a 1,500 square foot house right down the street from.
No, he's a simple man. I do think his story is very fascinating. And you're right. You know, when you send those rockets up, like that was every kid's toy, or you'd ask for it for the holidays. It was this little thing shot like, and it shot in the air, and then you had to run down and get it and bring it back. It was usually broken. You never got to use it again. Now you're in tears telling your dad, I need a new one. He's shooting these things. He's shooting them to Mars. I mean, it's a fascinating thing. Meanwhile, he's popping up on ESPN, sitting next to the boss, the same seat that Zuckerberg held down about 6 months ago. It's interesting. To me, it's interesting.
The whole thing was interesting. And it felt like a New York fight night because celebrities were everywhere. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was a great night. The energy was nuts in the garden. All right, chill, man. I'm going to let you get going. I know you got a lot to do this week in New York City. It was good seeing you the other day, man. And hopefully we got some big news for fans coming soon. We can't tell them yet, but hopefully we got some big news. Guys, another good episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy. Get us wherever you get your podcasts. ESPN Plus, ESPN2, ESPN MMA YouTube. For Chael Sonnen, I'm Daniel Cormier. Until next time, peace.